Good evening. Welcome to the January 9th, 2025 Smyrna Municipal Planning Commission meeting. I will call the meeting to order now, and if you will stand with us, Steve will lead us in prayer and Mark in the pledge.
Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for the town of Smyrna and the leadership that we have here, Lord. We ask that you be with these proceedings, that everything would be pleasing in your sight and your will would be done. Continue to bless the town of Smyrna and the state of Tennessee as we move forward into 2025. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Take the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Steve and Mark. Our next item is citizen comments.
We do not have any.
No comments, so we'll move on to agenda item 4, which is approval of the minutes of the December 5th, 2025 meeting.
It actually should be 2024. Apologize for the typo there.
I saw that email.
Yes, it's corrected.
We haven't hit 25 yet, or December of 25 yet.
That's right. We're still several
Not
months
yet.
away.
Counselor, other than the date, is everything else in order with the minutes?
Other than that terrible mistake, yes.
Is there any questions or comments from the commission concerning the meeting?
It'll be reflected in your review, Jeff.
Okay.
I'm not hearing anything, so I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second, okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of the December 5th, 2024 meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We are now on to a public hearing, plan of services for Green Gate Place.
Yes, this is the plan of services for the annexation, which is on your agenda a little bit later. This, of course, just puts in writing the services the town would be providing upon annexation. This is relatively standard in this case. The town would be providing all services except for water, which would be provided by Consolidated Utility District.
Okay, questions or comments concerning the plan of services for Green Gate? Hearing none, I'll entertain a
We
motion.
need to hold a public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a public hearing?
Yes.
I'm out of practice. So we'll open this up for anyone that's here to speak for or against the approval, of the plan of services for Green Gate Place. Now I'm not hearing anything,
Right.
so we'll close the public hearing. We'll go to the commission for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on the plan of services? All those in favor of approving the plan of services for Green Gate Place, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Plan of services is approved. Now we're on to annexation, zoning, and plan of service request. This is coming from Joe Haddix, Bill France Road and Interstate 840, annexation in I-2, C2, and R3 zoning request. And this has been requested to defer for 2 more months.
That's correct.
Okay?
Make a motion to defer for 2 months.
I have a motion to defer for 2 months. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion on this motion to defer? All those in favor of deferring the request from Joe Haddix, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is deferred. We are now on to new business. Our first item is annexation, zoning, and plan of service request from Robert Tresider, Green Gate Place, annexation and R3 zoning request.
Yeah, this is an annexation request with an R3 zoning attached to that request. It's about 1.76 acres that's been requested. It is a part of a parcel. The parcel has frontage on Morton Lane. And this is a kind of an area of this parcel that kind of wraps around the adjoining development there that's Westover. And so they have requested for that portion of the property to be annexed into the town with the the plan to develop it into a couple of residential lots. We actually do have that kind of, at least a concept plan for that, which is kind of on this drawing here that shows that. There's just a couple of lots off the end of that cul-de-sac that's being, would be proposed if this is annexed. Surrounding zoning is a mix of, within town, there's a couple of PRDs around it, the Westover PRD and Bankside, and then RM in Rutherford County, which is the remainder of this property, as well as the property to the west. Land use plan would support medium-density, single-family in this area. There are no roads on the major thoroughfare plan that are affected by this request. There is existing water mains within that CUD has existing water mains there in the Green Gate Place, that little cul-de-sac there, as well as sewer as well. So the infrastructure is already there to serve these two lots. So I believe that's all that I've got.
Questions for Kevin on this request?
Is there, I guess my question is there a reason they're requesting the R3 versus a PRD? It looks like they're connecting into an existing neighborhood that was built under the same PRD. If they choose to build in this location, should that not, maintain the same requirements that the rest of the neighborhood did?
I don't know. I know that the property owner worked with the developers of that project with regards to the sewer taps and everything in this area. So I don't know if there was discussions, if there's going to be some sort of private restrictions or something to reflect that they meet the Westover requirements or not. This is, typically a PRD has a lot of other, there's open space requirements and things like that, and this is such a small development with two lots. To me, it didn't make a lot of sense to do a PRD for it. But, the owner is here if you want to ask him, he might could answer that question, but.
I mean, it seems like the only real option there would be to modify the Westover PRD, which if Westover owners aren't willing to do that, then.
Yeah, they're a
See the
separate
point.
ownership completely to this, yeah.
I guess I'm just not seeing a problem with this because these are two substantial lots here. And, from an impact to the surrounding area, it's less of an impact from what I'm seeing here.
But it does back up to R3 as well. So
Yeah,
it's PRD on one side, but it's R3 on the other.
and we've seen that in several locations, so I don't think it's inconsistent with surrounding zoning. Other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve with staff
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this annexation and R3 rezoning request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion's approved. Our next item under new business is a preliminary plat, the estates at Williamsport Drive, owner to developer RMG Development, and I understand they've asked for deferment.
That is correct, for
Okay.
1 month.
Okay, we have a request for deferment. Any questions for staff concerning this?
Make a motion to defer.
I have a motion to defer. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to defer. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion to defer, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. Our next item is Maple Farms, Rock Springs Road. Owners, developer Morgan Mabel, John Morgan, Mike and Teresa Ray, Joe Morgan, Josh Miller, Century Communities of Tennessee LLC.
Yes, this is the preliminary plat for the Maple Farms development. This is one that was rezoned a few months ago. It is on Rock Springs Road. This is the plat. They're proposing 3 phases. This is the plat for all three phases of the development, so it's 40.34 acres. There were several comments. A lot of them are standard comments that we would need to keep regarding development agreements and those things. So really, comments really 1 through 11 are really kind of standard comments and would all need to remain as a part of any approval of this plat. There are several comments that have been addressed. Comment 12 regarding the drainage structures and easements or common areas has been addressed and can be removed. Comment 13, there were some easements that needed to be labeled and dimensioned, and as well as those off-site sewer easements. Those have all been shown now and can be removed. We asked them to show the sizes of the water mains. That's been done. Comment 14, number 15, they have shown the max overall height now with a note on the plat, so that can be removed. Comment 16 would need to remain. It was kind of one of our standard comments that got moved down the list a little bit there. The sewer main extension to that western property line, that may need to be moved or relocated due to some topography in that area where it's shown. So they're going to have to work through it with our utilities department, make sure they get that at the right location. So we would want to keep that comment. Comment number 17 has been addressed regarding that's some additional dimensions that were needed on some easements that weren't exactly on or adjacent to property lines. Number 18 regarding the front setback lines, that has been addressed and can be removed. And then number 19 regarding the sewer extension there at the end of the road at lots 38 and 37, so that has been addressed and can be removed. Comment 20 we do still need to keep. There's a crosswalk that needs to be shown of crossing Triana Lane on either where it comes off of Rock Springs Road there. And then comments 21 and 22 came from CUD, and those two would need to remain. One other comment that I do want to, there's some of the easements are labeled as PUDE, public utility and drainage easements. Some of them have an A in there, which I assume means access. They needed to all be labeled just the public utility and drainage easements. There's no access easements needed on any of these easements that are shown, so they need to change the labeling on that. So I do want to add that comment. It should be just public utility, PUDE, public utility and drainage
okay.
easement.
That's an acronym, correct?
Right.
Okay.
This plat, you guys may remember, there was quite a bit of discussion about this rezoning when it went through the process. This plat does match the approved PRD, including the larger lots abutting the property to the west, the buffer strip that was required as part of that, all those things. And so this does, of course, obviously, as it works through the process and gets permits, we'll have to review the architectural requirements that were a part of that PRD as well. But as far as the plat itself, this does match the layout of the approved PRD.
And that's our focus tonight is the plat.
Correct.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion at this level, council level, a lot of input from the public. So you answered my biggest question was, is this consistent with what we had previously reviewed and approved?
Yeah, I do want to point out too, just one other thing that popped in my head just now, that it does include the sidewalk along Rock Springs Road, which was talked about at the council.
I was about to ask the question.
Yeah, that is shown.
Yeah, I was noticing they've got, I guess, a walking trail identified by what looks like, kind of like a cobblestone path. Where that goes along Rock Springs Road, is that the sidewalk or is that in addition to the sidewalk?
That would be in addition to the sidewalk. There would be a concrete sidewalk along
So
the
a
road.
traditional sidewalk and then they
Right,
may have this walking path as well?
Internal path as well, yes.
Okay, other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve with staff comments. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to our next agenda item, which is the final plat, Sam Davis Center, intersection of Sam Davis Road and Nissan Drive, owner, developer, Grand Sakai Properties LLC, Sakai Properties LLC.
Yeah, this is the final plat. This was a site plan that you all saw last month, and actually the last couple of months. It's 3 lots, 4 acres in the C2 zone along Nissan Drive and Sam Davis Road. The first 3 comments are all standard comments that would need to remain. We also have a number 4 would need to remain. They're working through, and they did give us a draft of the basically it wouldn't be shown necessarily on the plat, but there are, all 3 of these parcels will have cross-access easements across them, so they can, everyone can travel and park and those kind of things across the tracks, because they're all, as you may remember on the site plan, they're all tied together. And so that has been, that'll have to be recorded as a part of when the plat gets recorded, but we do have that easement agreement has been drafted. Number 5, a separate sewer service is required for each lot, and they did show those easements now, providing that, so we can remove that comment. Comment 6 will need to remain, just a standard comment regarding owner signature being added prior to recording. Number 7 was show the water and sewer improvements, including the fire hydrant locations. We can probably take that one off because we kind of duplicated comment number 9 is a similar comment, so we probably can take off comment 7 and number 8 as well. Number 9, they did show that water main extension as well as the sewer improvements. They're all on there. The fire hydrant location, which is on lot 3, they do still need to call out that hydrant location on the plat, so we need to keep that, just kind of reword comment 9 to show the fire hydrant, proposed fire hydrant location. 10 and 11 can be removed. They've been addressed. Comment 12, we still need to keep that one. They still got a property owner's name spelled wrong, so we need to get that corrected. So we need to keep comment 12. So 1 through 4, 6 and 12, and then 9 reworded a little bit is the comments that are left, and we can recommend your approval based on those with those remaining comments.
Kevin, I recall in our conversation with the developer, maybe it was 2 meetings ago, they were amicable to putting in a sidewalk along Nissan Drive. Did that, maybe I just don't see it here, but did that make it this far?
That was on the plans, yes. The site plan that was approved, they did have that shown. And it will be, it's kind of, the area that's shown kind of hashed there along Nissan Drive is kind of some right-of-way. They worked through that with TDOT because they're adding a turn lane and with that sidewalk, so they would be within the right-of-way. So the sidewalk isn't shown on this plat, but it was shown on the site plan.
Other questions? Kevin, maybe minor, but what is the correct spelling of the owner's name?
It's Pogue, P-O-G-U-E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve with staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments from Amy. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. We are now on to site plans. The first one is 7 Brew, southwest corner of President's Place and Isabella Lane. Owner, developer, Who Brew LLC, and it's my understanding that we've also had a request to defer
Yeah, 1 month,
for 1 month?
yes.
Okay. Any questions on this deferral request?
Motion to defer.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to defer for 1 month. Do I have any further discussion on that? All those in favor of this deferral, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is deferred and approved. We are now on to Harts Branch Clubhouse off of Rock Springs Road. Owner, developer, Regent Development LLC.
This is a clubhouse building for the Harts Branch Townhome Development on Rock Springs Road. The clubhouse be built kind of in the back of part of the subdivision on the corner of Brackland Drive and Sturdy Circle. Clubhouse is to be just over 1,400 square feet in size with 155 square feet of covered patio space. This would equate to just under 1,600 square feet of total space. The building is to be finished with a mixture of brick and fiber cement board, which is consistent with the other townhomes within this development. Vehicular use area for this part, for the entire site, is going to be over 4 acres, and that would require 0.41 acres of landscaping. They're showing for 0.55 acres, so they're meeting that requirement. The landscape plan does show a variety of shrubbery and trees planted at the base of the proposed clubhouse building. Architectural elevations submitted show a mixture of brick, glass glazing, and fiber cement siding. As presented, the materials shown for the clubhouse do match the materials for the townhomes within the development, so it would be consistent. Standard comments 1 through 6 would all remain at this time. Comment number 4 regarding the fire flow, talked to the fire department about that today and got that sorted out. Should be 1,500 gallons per minute at 20 psi, which is should be sufficient enough for the site to meet. So staff would recommend approval with those comments.
Okay. Any questions for Mitchell on this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second? Motion and a second to approve with staff comments. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this site plan, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Site plan is approved. The next item is Janet Ibrahim, Rocky Fork Road, owner, developer, Janet Ibrahim. And I also understand that we have a motion to defer here.
That is correct.
Correct.
Have we looked at this previously?
You looked at the zoning previously, yes. This is the site plan.
Did we not have some type of, maybe even just a concept or whatnot?
We did. We had a concept and everything. This was the actual site plan and construction plans for the
Okay.
project.
We had to move the kiosk and all that stuff.
Yeah, they added some parking.
Yeah.
There were some requirements on the architecture because of the overlay.
Yeah,
this
I
the
was
one-
confused when I saw it too.
Was this the one where we had the two homes that were facing?
Yeah.
We
The ro-
did rotate to face Rocky Fork Road.
So are we anticipating that's going to change at all, or is that all?
No, this
Okay.
is just, yeah, they
It's just
just,
a delay in site plan process.
I just want to make sure
yeah, they're
that
not,
we're
they're
not
not
getting ready to
changing
see something
anything,
else.
yeah, on the layouts or anything. We had asked for, the elevations they submitted were the original elevations that were submitted. It didn't match what was approved, and there were some other engineering sewer issues and different things like that they got.
That's led to this deferment.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
With that, I'll make a motion to defer.
Okay, for 1 month?
That's what they requested, yeah.
Yeah, for 1 month.
I have a motion to defer for 1 month. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of deferring this motion for 1 month, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved and deferred. Next, we are on to Murphy USA, 5840 Enon Springs Road East. Owner, developer, Murphy Oil USA, Inc.
This is for the Murphy gas station, which is located within the Walmart parking lot. The existing building is approximately 123 square feet with a 2,688 square foot canopy with 8 fuel pumps. They would demo the existing site and they would construct a new, bigger canopy and commercial building on site. So the building would be 1,400 square feet and the canopy would be 5,658 square feet, and you'd have 12 fuel pumps, so you'd increase a total of 4 extra pumps on site with this. Building orientation on the property and canopy is proposed to stay consistent with the existing facility, but just slightly enlarged. Vehicular use area on the site, 14,869 square feet, and that would require 1,487 square feet of landscaping. They were showing for 3,169 square feet, meeting our requirements. Parking requirement of 14 spaces, they're showing for 18, and that would require 1 handicap parking space, which they are showing. The landscape plan shows existing vegetation remaining on the site in the non-disturbed areas. Additional shrubberies and a tree is proposed to be planted in the southeastern corner of the site where the parking is to be reconfigured, and there's going to be the addition of a dumpster enclosure added over there as well. We did receive architectural elevations yesterday on these, so more than we received previously. So the architectural elevations show a mix of brick, glass glazing, and architectural composite metal panels, or ACM panels. The percentages have not been shown for the breakdown of each wall face and the entire building itself, so we can't verify whether it meets design review as far as that's concerned for the percentages. Based on the look of it, the metal is probably going to be exceeding what our ordinance allows for, so but we just do need those percentages shown to verify it, make sure it does or does not meet our requirements. Standard comments, 1 through 7, with the exception of 6, will all remain. 6 is not applicable in this case since they're not adding any kind of stormwater measures to the site. Staff comment 1, they did submit a water load sheet requirement for our utilities department to review, so that comment can be removed. Comment 2 goes back to the architectural elevations. All we need them to do is submit percentages for the breakdown on each wall face and for the building in its entirety. Number 3, they were originally showing the dumpster be finished with CMU block. They're now showing a brick to match the brick on the building, so comment number 3 can be removed. Comment number 4 is more of a standard comment. If the fuel tanks are to be relocated, it's going to require a permit from the state for that. Comments 5, 6, 8, and 9 are all going to be utilities department comments. More minor comments than anything else, we're going to leave those for utilities department to review at a later date when they have their separate review process. Number 7, that was the one I skipped over in there, the grease trap comment has been addressed with our utilities department, so that comment can be removed. Comment 10, the nearest fire hydrant is being shown on the plan, so that comment can be removed as well. And then the impervious area and the existing and proposed vehicular use area is now being shown, so that comment can be removed. So, in its entirety, comments 1, 3, 7, 10, and 11 can all be removed. The rest will remain. Staff does recommend approval of this now that we received additional details on the architectural elevations and more detail on the plans themselves. So, staff does recommend approval with those remaining comments.
Questions for Mitchell on this?
I heard you say if the tanks are to be moved, does the new design show the tanks in a different location?
I looked at it against, I don't know about the tanks themselves. The canopy is enlarged. It looks like it's in a very similar position. I'm not sure what that requires for any underground work to be done on the site. As far as those tanks, or if they need to be enlarged or shifted around due to the capacity of it, but it looks like it's in the same spot, but if it is needed, it's more of just a precautionary comment or anything else.
I was thinking the tanks were currently in front of the canopy, so that, but I may be wrong.
So if the tanks are relocated, they'll meet all the new environmental standards?
Correct. Whatever the state requires is what we'll do.
It doesn't look like it'd have any effect on the traversability along the side, like going out to Eden Springs or
No.
going over to Walgreens or whatever.
No, because you still have a canopy. It's all, you know.
It's all under the roof, okay. What about the dumpster enclosure? Is it gonna be situated in a way that can be easily in?
Yeah, so it's sitting in the southeastern corner of it for the if I had a laser pointer, this would be good. So you can do, and it's in the lower corner, there's a little bump out
Yeah, I
right
see it
there.
on here.
So trash truck driver can drive right up to it and have easy access.
Okay. I thought so, but the way this is drawn is making me ask the question.
Yeah, the truck route that they're showing on here, that's just for the fuel delivery, right? They're not, this isn't gonna have diesel.
I believe it is showing,
Currently, they
without
don't
looking, I
have
don't know if
diesel.
it's showing for the fire truck or it's for the delivery truck. It could be one or the other.
But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's intended to be a fuel station for tractor
trucks.
trailers or
Yeah,
anything
I
like
think
that.
it's
No,
more
it's not
for
that.
vendors.
Yeah, well, they just showed this truck route on here, and I wanted to make sure that was just for delivery truck. It's
Yeah.
clearly, looks like a semi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not intended to be like a trucking
Okay.
fueling station, no.
The structure here that's currently here versus what's proposed, is that a tear down and a total rebuild?
Yes.
So we're not worried about what existing structure is in addition to an existing structure? This is totally a new structure
Yep.
within the canopy area? Okay.
There's nothing grandfathered since it's being torn down, correct?
No,
It's a
that-
C,
yeah,
it's
that-
C2 zone. It's,
It's C2
That's exactly
zoning,
what
but
I'm
it's,
thinking.
yeah, it's, as far as, yeah, and that's why the new building has to meet our new standards.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of why I was asking about the tanks. They've been there overnight. So if they're being relocated, that's actually probably good. That way they get reviewed.
Okay, anything else for Mitchell on this?
Do we need any kind of comments since you don't have the percentage?
that's gonna be covered in comment number 2. Revise that comment, revise it on our end for, say, add the percentages so we can verify them.
And if they don't meet the requirements, we'll make them fix
Meet
it
the
till they do.
requirements.
Right. That's what I know if we needed the,
And that'll be
Extra
reviewed when
comment.
they come and pull building permits. We'll take a look at that.
You're comfortable with the elevations that are,
As long as they change the materials to.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be an improvement than what's there, so.
That one's got some age on it.
Yeah.
Anything else from the commission? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to
With staff
approve.
comments.
With staff comments from Steve. Do I have a second?
second.
Got a lot of seconds. Motion and a second to approve with staff comments. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to, looks like our last item under final plat, Stewart Creek Retail, intersection of Poplar Wood Drive and Almaville Road. Owner, developer, Mayan 2022 Inc.
This is a proposed site plan for a general retail center, 9,000 square feet, near the intersection of Almaville Road and Poplar Wood Road. There would be a single right-in, right-out off of Almaville Road with additional access from the future parcel to the west. Upgrades to Almaville Road and the intersection in the vicinity are proposed with the development of the gas station. We took a look at those when the gas station presented their site plan to us, I believe in 2023. So those improvements will have to be done as part of that project. Vehicular use area on the site, 0.61 acres, and that does require 2,667 square feet of landscaping. They're showing for 2,750. Parking requirement of 45 spaces, and they're showing for 51. They reduced down one parking space from the time the staff reports were written due to the addition of a handicap parking space and what goes into as part of that. So they are now meeting the handicap parking space requirement of 3 spaces, but they had to reduce one overall space to get that. But that still does meet our park requirement, so we are okay with that. Landscape plan shows a type C landscape buffer along the eastern property line abutting the single-family residences in the Belmont subdivision, with shrubbery continuing along the rear lot line. Additional streetscaping is shown along Almondville Road with trees and landscape islands throughout the site. Architectural elevations have been revised since packets went out, so it is still to be proposed to be finished with a mixture of brick, tile, and glass glazing. As presented now, the architect has revised the front elevations to meet our design review, so all of the wall faces do have a minimum of the 75% primer materials. So the elevations are now cohesive with our design review requirements. comments, standard comments 1 through 7 will remain at this time, and staff comment 1, the water load sheet requirement sizing. The applicant noted that this is going to be submitted after planning commission review, so comment number 1 will remain. Comment 2, to submit the final plat to be recorded prior to receiving building permits. We do have a final plat submitted for the gas station. They have submitted their building permit for that. We're holding up their permit until the final plat gets recorded, but we do have that. There's a couple other items as far as standard comment number 7 for the stormwater control measure maintenance agreement, and then there's going to be an additional agreement for a shared parking between the 2 lots. So until those fully get submitted, and we're going to have the developer take those all at one time to be recorded, just so everything's together. So standard comment or staff comment number 2 is going to remain at this time. Comment 3 regarding the elevations that did not meet design review previously are now meeting design review, so that can be removed. Comment 4, the dumpster enclosure was either A, on the new future parcel line or slightly over the parcel line in the northwest corner. The applicant has shifted it over a bit towards the east, so it is now fully on this property, so comment number 4 can be removed. And comments 5 through 7 are all CUD comments, since this does lie within CUD service area, so those comments will remain. Staff comments 3 and 4 can be removed, and the rest will remain. And with that, staff does recommend approval.
So Mitch, I had a couple of emails and phone calls about this from neighbors really in the Foxland area, which is kind of catty corner here. The questions were around lighting. We talked about lighting at our council meeting this week and some of the concerns there, but because this essentially is residential on this one side, which is going to have some buffering, they were concerned mostly about lighting from just this as well as the gas station, but basically shining over onto Seminary Road. Can you kind of talk about what lighting requirements are in place to cover that?
Yeah,
to
our
protect that?
ordinance does not allow commercial lighting to shine onto adjacent residential tracks, so that'll be taken care of as part of the ordinance, and we can always take a look at that as well as part of the plan process.
So they're not allowed to shine outside of their footprint?
Correct.
This was originally an industrial zone. Was it not? Was it rezoned to commercial, as I recall?
When this property, which was a part, and even the Belmont tract to the east, as well as the properties to the north, were all annexed and zoned industrial like 2000 or 2001, a really long time ago. It was going to be an expansion of the industrial part that's on Midway Lane in that whole area. That fell apart, and so it was basically vacant industrial tract. The property in the middle became residential. This was still industrial, and then was developed partially, and then this remaining piece at front end Allenville Road was rezoned from industrial to C2. I can't remember exactly when. It's a few years ago now. The site plan for the gas station was approved probably a year and a half, 2 years ago.
The track immediately behind that is still industrial, is it
Is
not?
correct, and then there's another tract just north of that that's still used for residential purposes, a small tract that is on
As I
industrial.
recall, at
as well.
one point, there was a recycle center there.
Right behind it.
And then I think I recall a conversation that, within, of course, within orgs and regs, that, this could have been developed industrial, so we could have had heavy equipment, heavy vehicles in.
Right.
You could have probably had recycling all the way to the road there. Could have had warehousing. There's lots of things that it could have,
Could
could
have
be
been,
different if
yeah.
if the zoning remained industrial.
Right.
I also seem to recall that this portion of what we're looking at, this new portion, was originally shown in maybe a concept plan, or was it part of the original plat? We always knew when it was approved.
It was part of the original, which is the access for the gas station from Allenville Road was crossing this piece of property. So the access was shown originally. We didn't
Yep.
have the layout of any building or anything like that. That was shown when the site plan came in for the gas station.
Yeah, I think it's important that right in, right out is,
Yeah.
it's important that it's absolutely as far away from the light as we can get it and still be on this piece of property.
That's something what TDOT would approve, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, there was a traffic study done for the gas station that took this development of this track into account as well, that had some improvements they're gonna have to make to the road, as well as some timing on the signal and some different things, so.
Anybody leaving the site that wants to turn left and go back towards town is really gonna have to come out the back of the gas
Seminary
station
Road.
and go to the light. Is that correct?
Yeah.
One last thing is, I know in this area, we don't have a lot of them, but Charles mentioned that sidewalks anywhere, the only place really would be back there where the entrance is on Seminary, probably. I
Yeah.
don't think we have anything along Alamo Road.
Yeah, we don't have anything on Alamo Road, right? I mean, so, yeah, there's no, there's no sidewalks.
And Belmont's already there.
Yeah, and that's the back of the houses, right?
Yeah.
Well, with sidewalks, though, the longest journey begins with a single step. And I'm wondering why we would not have sidewalks, knowing that as other properties get developed, as the road gets improved, that sidewalks would be part of those plans.
Yeah, I don't know, Charles.
Plus, a sidewalk would make
We
it
talked about, I can't remember if we
walkable
talked about that
from
with
the
the gas
residential
station or not,
community.
or TDOT looked at that maybe when that traffic study came.
We
in as well.
completed a quarter study a couple of years ago and came up with some functional designs for this corridor. We submitted that to TDOT and we never got a full recommendation from them if they wanted bike lanes, sidewalks, or if they were looking for a multi-use type trail. So we were trying to wait to them, but this is in our corridor study that, you know, this would be a phase of it that we will be trying to work with TDOT on, but we haven't gotten a definitive answer from them as to about what type of, you know, access they want there, if they want bike lanes or sidewalks or a multi-use type path down the right-of-way.
I guess it's, we talked about at the council meeting this week, you know, there's conversation about improvements that may be able to be made from 1 Mile Lane all the way to Morton. This would be a large section of that.
It would be in that way.
Especially if we widen this to 4 lanes or 3 lanes or anything, wherever the sidewalk would be, would have to be pretty far, really kind of out of the way at this point to not have to just be ripped up and redone.
Right, so that's why, we're just not for sure what the long-range plan is as to what, you know, what kind of development TDOT's looking for within this right-of-way, because I have mentioned cycling and pedestrian, but but nothing specific as to what they're looking for. Are they looking for like the Jefferson Pike template where the sidewalk's right up against it, or if they're looking for something different? So we're trying to get their input on that, and we'll be having other meetings with them about Almville Road and try to get more input as to what they're looking for this corridor.
Charles, has there been any outlook on like 102 from the interstate, let's just say a mile or two out? I mean, I know that's long-term, it's not our road, it's a state road.
Right.
In meetings you've had, is there any models in mind that would widen that road at some point soon?
Right, well, like I said, we did the corridor study all the way from I-24 all the way out to 96, just trying to get
All
an
the way out,
idea.
yeah.
And, you know, if the crash down, we have submitted that to TDOT. You know, through here, we're looking at a 5-lane section, you know, for traffic, we're comfortable with that. It's the other, you know, the bike or pedestrian that we're not for sure of what type of facility that TDOT's looking for. So that's where we're waiting for their input to.
With that west side kind of being the growth
Yes.
area, I just
That's
kind of
gonna be a
curious if they
focus
had
area.
looked at maybe the Rocky Fork Road
Right.
interchange there, maybe what's growth look like for 102 going out maybe to Rocky Fork, Almaville,
Right.
before it gets to 96? Is there any plans like that?
Right, we're looking to 4-lane or 5-lane all the way out to Poplar, and then at Poplar, we would come down to a 3-lane section out to Morton. And then from Morton on out, we're looking at mainly just shoulder improvements coming back with putting the 10-foot shoulders, like you can see where TDOT has already done the bridge replacements, and they're showing that 10-foot shoulder. So we would match that typical section from there on out to 840 96. It, no, in fact, became within our urban growth area.
So we would have the ability to do that without, I mean, we'd have to have state approval.
Yes, we'd have to have that. And we're right now on that with, we're working, doing it within our local, or if we're going to be trying to work with TDOT as a local programs, grant funding. So we're at that point is trying to see where we're at with that. Mr. Santucci and the mayor,
A
like,
little
they've
bit
had
of
those
the
discussions.
St. Ridley Parkway mindset.
Correct.
Yeah.
Trying to see if we can do the same funding, different funding sources to do that. So
Pitch
we're,
in to make it happen a little bit
Right.
quicker, maybe, yeah.
And I
But,
think the study you guys shared earlier this week was pricing from like 2 years ago was like
Right.
$12 million just to get to Morton Lane. So,
Yes.
I mean, it's a significant
and that's
investment.
without the
That's without
bike
TDOT.
or ped facility. So if you add that in there, then you could be looking at right away. And then what do you get into as far as utilities, underground utilities that you would be into? So that could really, bring the cost up.
Would we continue to use CUD at that point, I guess, right? That's
Right,
existing
yeah,
water.
Have to, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we would have to work with them also in that, if we get into, like I said, if we're stay within the right of way or within the existing curb, it wouldn't be as bad, but we're trying to piggyback off the Almaville Road, because they were talking about doing some access control, like up at McDonald's. They were gonna put a raised median in up to about Courier Lane, that they were gonna put a raised median and limit that, left turn lanes out of there because of the accident. So we were trying to see where they were going with their design and see if we wanted to bring that access control further down and eliminate some of the left turns there, except for the major intersection, much like we did on Sam Ridley.
Right.
That we took out those
Yeah.
open
The crossovers.
crossings,
And
yes.
that made a big difference.
Yes,
I
and
know,
that-
I sit there on Sam Ridley, so.
Right, so trying to do away with unsignalized median crossing, so we were trying to wait to get their design and pick it up and carry it on, so, but with theirs being on hold currently, we're not for sure what their final design is looking like.
Just for clarification, he's talking about the interchange.
Yeah, the interchange, yeah,
not
on the road
design, that's the
interchange project
interchange design.
that we were
We
gonna
talked
try to
about the
piggyback,
medians
yeah, like I
before.
said,
Yeah.
get their design, and then we could try to connect there and piggyback off of that some.
I guess from my perspective, and I do hear you, Charles, I just think there's so many variables at this point that I don't see the requirement of a sidewalk, especially considering what may actually happen here. I think, Steve, you said, put it in only to tear it out. And whereas like when we're looking at Rock Springs Road, where we have a lot of sidewalk, and back to Maple Farms, completing that, knowing that some of that would fill in, I don't think that we're gonna see a lot of dramatic change so that we'd see tear outs there, but I do foresee dramatic change in this area.
And like I said, I've been on the calls with the TDOT and the developer's engineer about, like, so they had changed it to just a right in, right out. At one time, they were looking to put a left turn lane into it, but they pulled back on that. But they are working with TDOT to get their approvals for the right in, right out. And also the developer, in lieu of doing the signal modifications there, he put an escrow account with us, and we will put that as part of a project that has been out for advertisement now, the signal upgrades. And that bid will open on January 21st, but they have funded an escrow account to pay for their portion of the upgrades to go along with Public Works' signal project. So that, like I said, that bid opening will be January, so the signal upgrades are coming.
Do we have any feedback from the owners on if they have any existing or any agreements for rentals yet? They're showing like a drive-through and some grease traps and,
Yeah, there's at least one of them would be a restaurant of some kind, because they do have the drive-through there. I don't know if we have.
that was
any
one of the
specific-
questions I got from the Foxland folks. They were specifically, they were worried about it being a vape shop or a tobacco store or something like
Yeah.
that, and of course, it's possible, but
Yeah.
just wonder if we had any ideas.
So speaking to the applicant on this, they said basically it's, you know, the owner coming to them saying, hey, can you do this, basically make it as broad range as you can, and this is what come up with, so. That's what we
It
got.
certainly could be that use, it could be other things. Anything allowed in C2, you know, it's on C2.
Well, I saw the same email, and it's hard to answer that question because it's sort of a free enterprise system here, you know? It's like you can't tell somebody they can't open up if they meet the zoning requirement.
Right, well, and if it's C2, right, that's,
Right.
that's unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, our most open commercial.
Well, I mean, even down to the building, I mean, it's a portion there, but there's not to say that you don't get a tenant in that takes two of those
Right.
areas. You know, you may have a restaurant that, with a drive-through that has two, possibly three, who knows? But if it's allowed in C2, it would be allowed.
The two of the major concerns were lighting, which we've resolved, the other was noise. They've put the drive-through on the west side of the building, which minimizes the noise,
If there's a drive-through there at all.
if there's a drive-through at all.
There's one planned on the west side.
Yeah.
They've got that plan for it, but
Do we think we need anything more, that if there's a microphone or something on the north side, that it's positioned in a way that it doesn't go into the neighborhood?
To the Belmont subdivision.
You know, a lot of times they put a pedestal up and, you know, if you aim it in the right direction, there's no problem. If you aim it in the easterly direction, then the neighbors.
I mean, we can, I don't know, we can talk to them about that. That's something we can, if it becomes an issue, we can always have them fix
You might
that.
just want to keep it on your radar.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight in the back of the building between that and the drive out and fitting the queuing lane, so I don't know how much space they would really have in
Yeah,
back
they-
for,
It'll probably be something that's mounted to a wall, if
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, well, and it looks like, you know, based on the way the layout is right now, that microphone would be basically facing the I-2 property to the north, right? Not really.
Right.
It'd be the smartest place to put it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I would suspect that it'd be hard to reach any kind of noise levels higher than the industrial I-2 that's already there.
But I think Chairman brought up a good point a while ago, and what you just brought up again. This being C2, actually sitting on the highway front is more aesthetically pleasing than what any kind of industrial building might be, along with the noise and the traffic and so forth, that would have been allowed to take place prior to the rezoning of this. So I hear them, and I hear the concerns, and we want to make sure we address those concerns. But on the same token, I think this is probably a better fit for where this sits than what any kind of industrial product would have presented. So I wish the neighbors understood the free enterprise portion of this, because C2 is C2. And C2 means, as long as they meet the guidelines of C2, we cannot tell somebody what they can or cannot put in their places. We're just not, the law does not allow us to do that, so.
I'm just thankful that it's away from the Alamo Road intersection, right? So it's gonna take, honestly, you know, folks going to the gas station or restaurants or whatever, this actually moves them away from the interchange quite a bit. So maybe actually relieve some stress on businesses further,
Yeah.
closer to the interstate.
Last question, Mitch or somebody, I don't know the answer to this, and I can't tell really by looking at the drawing. On that right in, right out going into the retail area, will there be a raised curb, or is that just striped?
show on the plans, is it detailed?
The only reason I'm asking, somebody's gonna try to turn left there.
Yeah, the other difficulties, we got the fire department who will not go over any kind of raised
Okay,
curb
well,
area,
that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is detailing on the plans.
Somebody's not gonna wanna go all the way to the back side of that property and go back out to a light. They're just not.
It appears like there's a median piece of it, just because there's no painting, no hatched or anything like that, so, other than the right turn arrow. It was shown as part, the details were really shown more with the gas station plans, because that's where it was approved originally. So.
But maybe
I don't know,
something
I
we want to also put in
give
the back of our
firm
notes
answer on
and ask them about if it's permissible, if the fire department doesn't have an issue with it. Because I'm telling you, nobody's gonna go all the way through that parking lot and get over through the gas station parking lot and come all the way up to that light to go back towards town.
Yeah, their auto turn does show the fire department coming out of there, driving over that area, so that
So
means
it's
it's
not-
probably not a raised median, so we probably do need to look at that.
We can always widen.
Widen it
There's
to
ways you
allow-
can widen it to get it so the truck
I
can
think we
fit.
need to fix that, because somebody will attempt that.
Well, there's no doubt that people will turn
Let's
left,
make that
try to
part
turn
of
left.
any motion.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you mentioned, I think maybe Mitch mentioned it, that there was some improvements with the traffic study that was gonna be required, light signalization and.
The modifications that Charles referenced that,
That Poplar Wood.
at the intersection there at Alamo Road. I believe they're extending the right turn lane, is that right? What, do you recall exactly?
Yeah, the right turn lane.
At the at the signalized intersection, I think they're extending that right
Yeah.
turn lane, if I recall. But
Right, and then on Almaville Road, they're going to have to extend that right turn. It will go back to before the entrance, and then it will be continuous all the way up to Poplar Wood. So that was one of TDOT's requirements, was to put a continuous right turn lane.
So the right turn lane that's showing there on the bottom.
Will be
basically gets
extended.
It will be
back.
extended up to before the entrance.
Okay, and then improvements to seminary, that's the other right lane you're talking about? Or
No, there won't be any improvements. The lane is just the signalization.
And that's mainly timing, I
Yeah,
think.
right. It'll be, like I said, it'll be all new, like I said, all new equipment in there. And then our project, or Tom Rose's Public Works project, that they'll be getting that hooked up online into our traffic control center. So they'll be getting that one online.
Charleston, did you say the right turn lane will stack all the way back before that entrance now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was one of the discussions that they had, that we were going to try to have the right turn lane into the business and then bring it back out. But TDOT said they wanted a continuous right turn lane from before the side entrance and continuing on all the way down to the existing right turn to Poplar.
So in essence, it makes that right turn even safer.
Yes, like I said, it makes it much longer too.
So not directly related, but there's not any repaving or paving involved on Poplarwood and Seminary?
No.
Specifically because, we had to, recently on Poplarwood, we had to go fix some, corners and curves.
Right, we
and
fixed
so
the one
That's what I
corner.
was thinking, is if they're gonna be doing any lanes or anything here, then it might be a good opportunity to
Make sure
fix,
those get addressed.
fix all of that, right? So-
Right, but no, we're leaving the laneage, it's just doing the signal improvements and the timing.
Okay.
And then bringing it in online that we can put in multiple phasing elements into the timing on the signal. So you can have a morning in rush hour for school, then a regular, and then in the afternoon that you can rephase those signals.
So if I wanted to find out where Seminary and Poplarwood is on the repaving list, that's Tom?
That's Tom, yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'll send Tom a note.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for Charles? Thank you, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with staff comments and the consideration of the, I guess,
Entrance area.
entrance
Improvement.
curved entrance area.
Entrance area improvement.
Since I don't know what those are gonna be, I'm just for consideration for you guys to handle it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to a zoning ordinance amendment. Amendments to zoning ordinance Article 2, 4, 5, and 7 regarding special institutional care facilities.
Yeah, these are amending several sections of the ordinance, all regarding one particular category of uses. The specific sections, it's Article 2, Sections 2.020 and 2.03511. Article 4, Section 4.010.2G, which is our parking requirement. Article 5, Section 5.053.3, and Article 7, Section 7.061.14. These amendments are regarding the category of uses known as special institutional care facilities. Currently, this category of uses is not allowed in any zoning district, and so this would correct that issue, because it is an issue we have to fix. The proposed amendments basically, we're adding a definition of a group shelter, cleaning up wording regarding the use classification, creating a parking requirement for the use, allow the use as a special exception in the I-3 heavy industrial district, and to amend the special conditions which the category of uses would be required to meet. This will, again, as I said, will correct an issue while limiting the potential locations this category of uses could utilize. The new language was highlighted in yellow in your packet there. And then there's some areas that we are removing that were kind of struck through, that are shown in red. Again, we're just adding the definition of a group shelter, which we did not have currently. And then having the parking requirement of 1 per 12 beds, plus 1 space per employee or volunteer working on the larger shift, plus 1 space for any business vehicles. Again, adding the use as a BZA review in the I-3 district, and then just some conditions regarding some separation from this type of use from other similar uses or churches and schools and daycare, things of that nature. Required to be on a collector levels or arterial level type street, things of that nature. That would all be reviewed as part of the BZA review of any of these particular type of use, so. That's what I've got.
Okay.
Kevin, was there a specific request that came in that caused us to change this?
Yes. There were folks that were wanting to open up a group shelter, and they had a specific location in mind, and we couldn't tell them yes or no, quite frankly, so we had to clean that up.
So does this allow them to move forward?
Actually, the location they had, it would not, no.
Okay.
Other questions?
In my experience, this type of thing is very difficult from a zoning standpoint. And this seems to be very well thought through with a lot of what-if kind of considerations.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. We have a Part B amendment to zoning ordinance Article 4, Section 4.073.
Yeah, this is an amendment to the recently adopted PRD requirements. This was something that was brought up at the council meeting when this was up for second reading. And this would basically just change one thing. It would add a requirement of a 20-foot landscape buffer within a PRD when that PRD does abut properties owned either R1 and if it's in town or RM in Rutherford County. There wouldn't be anything else that would change. This is something, of course, with the PRD, the plat we looked at for the Naval Farms PRD this evening. That was something that was required as a part of that review process. This would just codify that and put that in the ordinance. It would be automatically required in a situation such as that. So that's the only thing that would be changed from the recently adopted changes into our PRD requirements.
Well, it streamlines the process, and it does take a lot of discussion, argument, or however you want to phrase it out of the
It's
situation.
clear on the front end for a developer that they know they have to do it. It's
Yeah.
not a discussion. And also for any adjoining property owner, it adds some protection for them as well.
Agree.
Yeah, we've kind of already started doing this in a few of our developments already. Mabel Farms, which we looked at earlier, has that 20-foot along property line, so
Yeah, I like the fact this is codified, or, well, if approved. it will
if
be
approved, correct.
Any questions or comments? Do I
Does
have-
it, does it speak to the type of buffer here?
Just that it would be a 20-foot landscape buffer. Obviously,
Each stands on its own?
each stands on its own, like with the Maple Farms, there was existing heavy tree line already there, they're just leaving that alone.
Okay.
You know, if it's.
So we're not codifying what type of buffer,
Right.
we're just codifying a buffer.
So, but if it was an open area that didn't have those trees already there, then
Right.
you're gonna have to require some sort of landscaping be added.
So it's still something we could discuss at site plans.
That
It's
would be
just gotta be
something-
20 feet, basically.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
And what goes in the 20 feet
Yeah.
we discussed. Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion to approve from Amy, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Matt. A motion and a second, further discussion. All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to the January bond review report.
Several tonight, so I'll go through these. The first one, the Point subdivision, which is the commercial development there on San River Parkway. They have paved the streets in all in this. This is basically phase one of that, so we would recommend a reduction on that to 20,000, begin that 1-year maintenance period. Cedar Hills, Section 3, Phase 1, they have everything completed. This is the end of the maintenance period, so we can release that bond. Buckingham Place, Section 1, there's a few cleanup items. This is the end of the maintenance period. We can release that if they get done by February 1st. Otherwise, to extend it 3 months, developer did indicate they were working on those items, so hopefully they'll get that done. Same way with Section 2, Phase 2, same situation there. Again, just a few cleanup items, so hopefully they'll get those done by February 4th. Otherwise, give them 3 more months. Woodcrest 4, again, they did indicate had somebody working on those items. We would recommend just a 3-month extension on that one. They need to get that one paved, so that's one I want to get that one done, hopefully next spring. Hunters Point Annex, Section 3, Phase 1, this one's, they are working through that one. They are built out there, but there's a ditch they gotta fix, but to fix the ditch, because of the grades out there, they gotta do some building on some of those lots during the adjoining phase. They're hoping to get that done next spring, so I recommend a 6-month extension on that to give them time to get that finished next spring. Blakeney, Section 1, Phase 1, I didn't hear back from that particular developer. This is into their maintenance period. If they can get those items cleaned up, we could release it. Otherwise, a 3-month extension to give them the spring, hopefully to get that finished. Tommy's Car Wash, it's actually a private road that needs to be finished. He has an adjoining development that he's wanting to get done first, and he's looking to do that next spring. So I want to give him a year to finish that up, since it is all private anyway. We're okay with a year extension on that one. Hidden Hills, Section 6, Phase 1. This is one, they're about a little over half built out. We have had it a couple of years. I would recommend a 6-month extension on that one. And then Buckingham Place, Section 1, Phase 2, just has the same as those other 2 sections in Buckingham Place. This is the end of their maintenance period, so if they get everything done, release, otherwise extend 3 months. That's all I got.
Questions for Kevin concerning the January bond review reports?
I make a motion to approve the January bond review
We have a
report.
motion to approve the January bond review report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of approving the January bond review report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The bond review report is approved. Staff comments.
Just a couple things, just to remind the commission about. One, we have a couple meetings coming up that are joint meetings with the council. One on the 28th of January, which is a Tuesday. That one is at 5 o'clock. That will be held at the event center. That will be specifically to talk about 2 things. One being the updates to the major thoroughfare and bicycle pedestrian plan. We're calling it the mobility plan, just to shorten the name a little bit. We'll have some discussion about some proposed projects and different things with that with you all, get your input on those. And then also, which is the same consultant but a different group, but they will be been working on our Safe Streets for All plan, and just get your thoughts and input on that as well. So they'll kind of look on one meeting to talk about both things that are related but somewhat different as well. And so that's at the event center on the 28th, and then on the 30th, which did tweak a little bit. It was going to set up for 4 o'clock. It will be at 3 o'clock. That will be here in Town Hall on the 30th, which would again just a joint meeting. We're talking about other things, not necessarily transportation is involved, but also maybe some sewer extension plans and just different things we've got going on there. So we'll put that together for you. And so I think those are, council I know is looking forward to those meetings, and I think there'll be a good discussion between the planning commission and council just to talk about things that are separate from we don't have an agenda where we're looking at projects and things of that nature. We can just talk about big picture issues. So just want to remind those. And on the second meeting specifically, if you all have anything that you would like to talk about, any topics that you would like to talk about, let me know, and we can, if we can work it into that, we will. If not, we're going to be doing those quarterly. So if we can't get to it in January, we'll get to it the next time.
That's the one that got extended to 3.
Yes, it will begin at 3 instead of 4, yes. But
On the
that
same-
one will be here in Town Hall.
On the Safe Streets plan, do you have anything preliminary you can share?
I know Mr. Rose has been working that, he's kind of the lead on that. I've been involved with it, certainly. That's going to focus primarily on, we've been looking at some of the high injury or high incident network as far as injuries and accidents and those of that nature within the roads, as well as are there some areas where we need sidewalks, gaps, things of that nature, and so I don't have anything specific to tell you, but I know that's what it's going to be focusing on. Again, related to the thoroughfare and bike bed plan, certainly, but it's more focused on the safety issues that we see that we need to.
Yeah, if there's
to look
anything
at.
you could share before the meeting, that'd be
Oh,
great.
before the meeting, I'll get with Mr. Rose and see about that, certainly. Well, hopefully, we're also, with the mobility plan, we're actually going to be meeting with the park board earlier, a week after next as well, so you get their input as well. So on the mobility plan, I'll have something I know for sure. I'll get with Mr. Rose about the Safe Streets for All plan.
Anything
That's
else
all I
from the
got.
commission?
Just real quick, we'll welcome Steve
Yeah.
on to the planning commission
Thank
for
you.
his first visit. Thank you, Chairman, for your willingness. In November, I said goodbye to you, and then
He's back.
You surprised me and volunteered to continue to serve, and so we appreciate your willingness to do that.
I appreciate that.
If I may, Dave Santucci's in the room, and Dave, if you would, just come to the microphone and tell the public about tomorrow real quick, what the plans are for our roads and safety, or, Dave's been keeping the council, everybody, updated a little bit on what's going on. I thought the public might like to hear a little of that.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to do that. Yes, so non-essential operations for the city will be closed tomorrow. Our essential crews will be running water, wastewater, fire, police, and of course, our public works street crews. I was with them today. You actually probably see Mr. Rose on the news a little bit later if they decide to put him on there, but they did come in and interview him, so gave him an opportunity to talk about what our operations will look like tomorrow. Those men and women, they'll be starting real early in the morning, getting out there to start plowing, and then followed by salt. We'll continue to do so until we get those roads clear. We're expecting, matter of fact, the most recent information that came out of the National Weather Service around 4 o'clock showed a little bit more of a significant impact than what was originally anticipated earlier today. As those updates come, I'll make sure that the council gets those. But right now, they're saying somewhere between 6 to 8 inches. So that could change. It's a potential of 6 to 8 inches, right? So it's nothing certain. But yeah, we are ready to go. Best thing that anybody can do right now is just to stay off the roads because, for one, for your own safety, and two, all you're doing when you do that on snowed roads is compacting it, turning it into ice, making it an even more dangerous situation.
Will you be giving an instructional video on driving in the snow from
I hope
a
not.
Floridian perspective? Ex-Floridian?
He'll be in one of the scrape trucks.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate
it. Hey, Kevin, as far as the roads meeting, is public invited? Can they complete a survey, or how can
Yes,
we get input?
thank you for reminding me. Yes, we do have, excuse me, we do have a survey that is on our website that, you know, we would love for people to go in and take, give us their input, their thoughts. There's places within that survey where you can pretty much just type in and give us your thoughts. Sometimes there's prompts and specific things to say or answer to, but, so yes, we would love for folks to give us that feedback.
Where would they go to do that?
Townofsmyrna.org.
All right, very good.
Yes,
sorry?
It's on the top banner of the website.
There you go. That makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, everyone stay safe. Thank you, and we are adjourned.